Hey friends! John here and welcome to The Martial Actor. Today I'm going to be reacting to Captain America vs. the Winter Soldier. This is one of my favorite fights in the entire Marvel Universe, and I know a lot of people feel the same, but I haven't seen it in quite a while, so I'm excited to get right into it. Okay, so Black Widow just got shot by the Winter Soldier, and he comes up, and Captain comes running to save her. So Winter Soldier punches the shield, and he does a drop kick, and Captain America went flying back. Now, obviously in Marvel, everyone is a superhero, so they're all dealing with heightened powers. In real life, you would need a lot more force in order to launch someone that far with a drop kick. Chris Evans, his stunt double definitely took that, and his stunt double's on a wire. So the way that this would have worked is the stunt double has a vest. Usually it's some type of like Kevlar hybrid that he wears, and then threaded in the back of the vest is like a cable, and that cable is usually either green or black, but it gets taken out in post-production. And then on the other end of the cable are a bunch of people holding the wire, almost like a tug of war. So when the director calls action, those people pull the cable and the stunt double flies in whatever direction he's getting pulled. That's usually how it works. Looked good, was very dynamic. Good job. Okay, we got a nice little roll. Okay, so that right there that Chris Evans just did is a really dynamic side vault. His legs are pretty far apart and they're staggered, which looks really dynamic. So that was very, very well done. Okay, and we got some punches. Okay, so I really like this move. So what happened is the Winter Soldier grabs Cap's shield and tries to twist the shield. Instead of Cap letting go of the shield, Cap holds onto it and just flips with the shield, and the camera follows the flip. I'm a really big fan of camera movement like that when it tracks the action, especially because here it's so tight that it doesn't really give you any sense of vertigo. Instead, it's just highlighting the action, which I think is really great. Got some punches, a good back roll. He throws the shield. Okay, and he pulls out the knife. That's really good narrative storytelling right there, where the camera zooms in on the knife, and then the Winter Soldier does his little knife trick. It's really flashy and it draws the audience's attention. It's also a really good way to display, hey, this is an escalation of this fight, we're pulling out a knife. And this is the sequence that everyone loves. Yeah, so that was super dynamic. What happens is Bucky flips the knife in the air, and then he grabs it, stabs Cap's shoulder, and then his hip. Cap blocks, and then he grabs Bucky's arm and tries to put him into a wrist lock. Super dynamic, and it looks so great. Nice punch. Okay, so that was a jump spinning side kick. Those kicks are not easy to do. In fact, they're quite hard to do. That's why we didn't see Chris Evans' face there, because that was definitely a stunt double, someone who's really good at fighting. Not only is a jump spinning side kick difficult to do, but he did it from a standing position. It's not in a combo or anything. That's even more difficult because of the torque necessary in order to get a full spin. It's very hard. That stuntman really is good at his job. And the flying knee! Yeah, I love the flying knee. Ever since I first saw this movie, I thought it was so dynamic. And it's not that complicated of a move, but it looks so good. It's because the camera tracked that movement and really accentuated the movement of the knee. It just really makes it so dynamic and so pleasing to watch. And we got a hip throw. So Chris Evans blocks a punch from Bucky and then throws him over his hip onto the ground. I actually have a video that shows you how to do this exact hip throw. So if you want to learn, I will include a link in the description. And the Winter Soldier is choking him, and we get a nice throw. Punching sequence. Into the band, another knife, and stabs the band, cuts the band. So fun to watch. Okay, so Chris Evans just did a suplex right there. Suplexes are most commonly seen in wrestling. You see them a lot in WWE, but suplexes are actually originally from judo, fun fact. Oh, and then he did a kip up. A kip up is a pretty basic parkour move. We've seen it for many, many years, but it's when someone's on the ground and their body's like this, and then they kick their legs up and flip up. It's actually a little bit harder to do than it looks, but it looks like he did it, so good on Chris Evans. And again, this knife work is so dynamic. And you don't really see a lot of creative knife work like that. Bucky goes in for an overhead stab. Chris Evans blocks with the shield, and he just drops the knife behind the shield and then grabs it again to come in for another stab. It's not that technically difficult, but it's so creative, and they frame it in a way that the audience's eye is drawn to it. It's just so entertaining to watch. And get another flip. So this is another kind of wire trick right here. This is a little bit different than the first wire at the beginning. In this example, the stuntman would still be wearing a vest. Instead of the wire coming out from the back, the wire is probably coming out from the neck area. And there would be a pulley in between the stuntman, and when the team of people pulled the wire, the stuntman would go up instead of coming straight across. With this kind of movement, it's a little bit more technically difficult because the team that is pulling has to go back and then also forward in order to lower the stuntman back onto the ground. But as you can see, when you pull it off, it looks really dynamic. And that's the end. The mask falls off and Cap finds out that it's Bucky. So this clip was just as fun to watch now as it was 6 years ago when this movie came out. Marvel's always been very good at shooting film, and in fact, most Marvel films have a second director totally dedicated to just shooting the fight sequences. But for this movie and this clip in particular, I still think the best part for me is the knife work. And again, it's not technically difficult, it's just so creative. I think they really took a lot of creative risks with the knife choreo in this film, and it really pays off. It's so dynamic and it's so much fun to watch. And that's it for today, so take care of yourself, take care of each other, and I will see you next time!